Okay, this is another update on the cutter grinder. Universal tool and cutter grinder. I'm not going to call it a restoration, cleanup. People have been getting invaluable information in the comments from Daniel Abbey and Jean Paul, and there's others. I don't have my phone right here to see who they are, but I appreciate all of you with offers of parts that I need and Woodruff keys and what not to do and what to do. So far I've done pretty good at figuring out how to get something apart and get it back together, and then figuring out the way you're supposed to do it. So let's enjoy the next installment of the bottom side of the saddle. So let's go on in there. Okay, this might be and end up being a revised edition. I ran my finger on these ways. They have a nice coating of oil on them, and they feel the same. They feel the same from point, the whole width of it, as far as wear goes. They feel the same as they do in an area where you wouldn't expect any wear to the center. Now this side down here has a much better distribution of oil. It just has a fine coating of oil on it. I just put all these plates back on here to demonstrate what goes under here. But the bottom V has a very even coating of oil. This one here you can see is kind of gunky. But as far as the feel goes, they feel very good. And let me show you what since I've got this thing jacked up, I started putting parts back on it. Okay, I found the needle bearings here, and this is the shaft for the front crank. So it's going to engage with those needle bearings, only going the other direction. And I think I'm going to replace those needle bearings because I did find a needle bearing on the floor early on. And then as far as the rear crank goes, it mounts right here. And then this shaft is coupled with a flat and a Woodruff key. It's too heavy to be hanging around like that. I can show you a little better on this one. So at this point right here, these two shafts are connected. There's a flat and there's a Woodruff key. And I already held up the rear facing crank. Now all this has been taken off and cleaned and reinstalled. This adjustment here, I need to get this thing tightened up all the way, trap a nut on here and drive this in all the way because it's not installed, it's loose. This is the saddle lock. There is a pin laying in this screw here, and that pin is pushing on this plate, which will engage with something in there, and with actually it engages on this ledge. It's got to hit on this outside ledge, I guess. It engages somewhere there and locks the saddle. Something else, since I've lifted this up, I put these on, and they kind of hold the saddle down to the table. And boy, it would be a dream if I could install all these and then slide it on. But my concern is there's all those delicate wheels that sit down in here, and depending on how much control I have, sliding that on is going to determine whether or not, you know, I can install this with all this stuff, because this stuff is a pain in the butt to get to once the saddle's down. So Jean-Paul, there they are. There's the ways. I'm going to wipe them down, and I'll give you another picture of them, try to get it in some better light. I think in the meantime I'm going to go ahead and lay this thing back down flat. So we're not going to watch that. Okay, sometimes when you have these aerosol cans, not much in here. CLC did a good job of giving you enough air to get the liquid out. But there is a method that works sometimes to get some air in there. Let's see if that had any effect at all. I don't think I got the pin pushed down. Yeah, we got some more air out of it. So, little tip. Let's see if there's enough. Okay, this next segment here is by request from Jean-Paul and Daniel Abbey. They both expressed interest in underneath this saddle. Now, I'll show you some right after pictures in a few minutes, or maybe you've already seen them. But this is after just sprayed degreaser, used a worn out green Scotch Brite. A worn out green Scotch, a green Scotch, a green Scotch Brite. I scared the cat. A green Scotch Brite pad that had quite a bit of wear on it. So, an old wore out Scotch Brite pad. So, I've really done no polishing to the ways. Now, earlier, or later, you'll see when this first got flipped over that there was on this side there was just a very nice film of oil all the way down this. And this side not so much, had some contamination down in here, and you can kind of see the discoloration where that heavier, dirtier oil was kind of gunked up. So, if you remember right, this side had almost no gunk in it. It was very clean. This side had lots of sludge. So the side that had lots of sludge is this side, which was wasn't as in good a shape as this side. So I'm feeling, again, from here to here, looking for a big ridge down here, and I do have a fingernail ridge here. If I go down here to where the table gets no play, I have that same ridge here. Okay, that's 2 inches from the end. If I go to the very end, almost nothing there. Almost nothing here. Nothing, nothing, nothing. Little ridge, little ridge, little ridge, little ridge. Less, little ridge, little ridge, little ridge. Nothing. Okay, on this side, we'll do the inside first. But on the very, very outside here, got little ridge, little ridge. You can hear it. Here's a little area here where nothing here, here. Pick it up again here. You can actually see it. And I'm not sure if that's a wear ridge or not. I'm not convinced. So I don't see anything that's telling me that this thing has any excessive wear or any wear at all. All this has already been gone through, taken off, and reassembled. Saddle lock goes here. Pin comes in here, here, and it hits a flipper. Pin hits that in one direction or the other direction, it locks all that up. I have to go back and look at some pictures and watch some videos. And that is actuated by this screw and this pin. And this pin just sits in that hole. And screws in there and actuates that little flapper. And then we've got these pieces which screw up like this and keep this saddle held down. It'd be really nice to install all that hardware on the bottom and then install the whole saddle. But I'm not sure if I'm going to have enough control over the saddle to be able to slide that on without disturbing these very fragile rollers that are in here. So it may be better off just dropping it straight down. And yeah. Now we have we took off the front crank for the X. Y is side to side, X is in and out. So we have all this disassembled. And there's the screw. Now the rear crank basically mounts here, and this is where it couples up with the front shaft. And there is a roller bearing there, and I believe very early on, I found a single pin from a roller bearing. So I believe this is missing one pin. I spin it around, don't see anything. If I stick the axle and the shaft in there, it doesn't turn real free, free like you think it would. So nothing to pop that out and replace it. Hopefully there's some, well, it shouldn't be too hard to replace. Shouldn't be hard at all. So, this is about the third time I've talked about this. I'm trying to make a shorter version. Jean-Paul was asking about this. This is where the nut goes down. And I have stuck it back on there, just to say, yeah, this goes here. And it is a very, very tight fit. I would almost call it it's very close to being a pressed fit. Oh dear, what has he done now? Let me adjust this a little bit. I need to wash that off. There were some areas where the paint had flaked off and rust was starting on this column. So I kind of gave it the treatment. There's some Rust-Oleum paint that is fingernail scratch. Some Rust-Oleum paint that's supposed to be friendly to areas that suffered from minimal surface rust, or it's not rust converter per se. And I may leave the column and the base for the column white, just to break things up a little bit. I cranked the dealer here all the way down and covered it in plastic. I also took the bellows and degreased it, and I think with the fancy new hardware, you might not ever be able to tell it's a piece of crap. I can't spend a quarter of the money I spent on the machine on a bellows. Cleaned these tapped holes out. They're kind of a wreck, but those are inserts in there. They're not, it's not threaded into the cast iron. Got some rollers underneath the machine. I got a bunch of these oak dowel rods, probably I don't know, an inch and a half in diameter maybe, but they work as well as they roll as well as steel, and I believe I'll be able to pick the machine up with them, possibly. They go all the way through. The only problem is the back hole doesn't go straight through. It sure should. Okay, I got these oak dowels. The bottom of this isn't perfectly smooth, so it's not as cut and dry as one might think. But I want to try to maneuver this thing out from underneath the chain fall. Let me adjust the camera a little better. The mount I have you on is on an angle, so it wants to go other places other than okay. We're using the new microphone, but we're not. It is not clipped on in any way. Give you a little picture of that. I don't expect I'm going to get. If I can get a couple feet, I will be happy. There we go. Beautiful. Well, it's just a matter of picking up that end, getting it level, which is not a problem. I can lift it. Just a matter of getting some more wood underneath it. You know, I got it up in the air. I should probably just let it. Okay, that's good for right now. Now I'm going to bring the apron up here and flip it over. I did clean this bellows really well, degreased it, and we're gonna go with it. I misplaced the straps that hold that on, and I can tell right now the two straps I bought are not big enough. One of these will work for the top. The top is really in the worst condition, so I'll need to find something a little bigger than the number 104. I think it's 127 to 178 millimeters. So I need to find something starting at 178 to 204. Okay, so now we're going to bring the apron this way. And I think we're just going to do it just a scooch at a time. Let's see what I'm holding on to here. It's not that, well, it's heavy. It's not that heavy compared to some of the other pieces. Okay. What are we looking at here on the camera? All right, that's going to be good. I'm thinking just strapping it here. And standing it up. I can't see any problem with that. Find the hook. I'm not sure if you're seeing this, but there is an opening in the casting down here. Let me make sure it's not. There's nothing down there that's going to be damaged. be good, because I got a, there's a threaded rod that comes up from the bottom inside this housing and screws into this. There's really no way to get it tight unless you got two nuts on the bottom and do it like that. Have one nut lock off the other. I'm not sure if you're going to watch this whole process. Okay, once again, just making sure that there's